So here we are with the Newmans, the Newman couple. Are there any stories of your relationship or raising the girls or anything that really stands out in your mind that you'd like to share?
Yes. We were very fortunate to travel a lot. And one of our many experiences were our travels to Hawaii for 13 years in a row. And the girls were with us. The funny part was we stupidly dressed them alike. Remember, we have twins, Joanne and Jody, and then there was Jamie, and then there was Terry. At the time, muumuus were in order. Muumuus were these Hawaiian dresses, bright colored prints, long and typical of the Hawaiian dress. So here we were prancing around Hawaii, wearing the same clothes. I wore the same clothes as they did. Mine was, of course, from mother. But we were proud. We were so proud of all the girls. They went, look at those girls. Look at. They were always noticed. Now, they weren't always dressed that way, but just a couple of times when we went to Hawaii, we went on trips. But everyone knew we were a family, and we liked that. And those were memorable, happy days. Your mother, particularly in Hawaii, Jamie, loved Hawaii. She only wanted to go there. She didn't want to go to Germany. She didn't want to go to any parts of Europe. Why? There were cute boys in Hawaii. She liked those boys. The one was the lifeguard. One was just another guest. And she also loved going to the hut. The hut was this little outdoor restaurant that the kids would just go and order things, whatever they wanted. They got whatever they wanted, and they loved those days. They were heartfelt days of pleasure, fun, and family togetherness. That's what I remember of the great vacation that was continuous, that we had. Nice times. But the other thing that I remember with the girls is their graduations. I must tell you, whenever I hear pomp and circumstance, the theme for graduations, my heart goes pounding. It is something about it. I guess it's a milestone in everyone's life, particularly when you see your children growing up and they hit that path. And then after that, the next one was when they got married. And can you believe we had 4 weddings in 5 years? Poor Papa, with all that money. But he was a proud Papa. But those early years of growing up as a family and enjoying life together, and remember the milestones. Of course, the birth of the girls was something else. Let me go back a bit. When we had Terry, the first one, that was, everybody in town came to see Terry, the first child of the Newmans. Then the next one was Jamie, and a lot of people came. But when the twins were born, everybody in Orlando came with presents and thank yous and judges and lawyers and teachers. Well, at those days, you're talking about 52 years ago, it was unusual for twins. They didn't have all the medicines that they have today, of in vitro and double this and double that. But the birth of those 4 girls, particularly the latter of the twins, was certainly a milestone in our life. And it was a happy time. It's still a happy time.
And how about you? Are there any stories or memories that really stand out in your mind?
Yes, I remember that Terry, our oldest, I came home one day from work, and she was 3 years old, and I watched her. We had a little bar in our house, and she took the liquor, and she was mixing scotch, and she was mixing bourbon and vodka, and she was going back and forth into a glass with them, and she reeked of alcohol. And I said, Terry, what are you doing? And she says, I do what Daddy does. And I remembered we had a dinner party a few nights earlier, invited people, and she saw me mixing drinks for them, so she thought that's the thing to do. I remember Jamie. She was always a laugh. She used to like to run out of our house on Wilder Lane in Orlando, stark naked, and run up the streets. And we'd have to chase her. Joanne and Jody were as cute as they could be. Joanne always would reach over to Jody's high chair and take her food. Joanne was plump at that time, and Jody was very thin. Didn't like to eat, and Joanne did like to eat. I remember too when Myrna and I were engaged. I told her there were 3 things I hoped that she could contend with: moving to Florida, having twins because genetically it looked like we would, and I said, can you live with that? And she said, sure. And then I said to her, what would you like? And she said, well, there's just one thing I've wanted. There is this great movie star whose name is Tony Martin. You can look him up. He'll be long dead by the time you see this video. And she said, I was 16 years old. My parents took me to the Shapery, a nightclub in Chicago. Those were the days when nightclubs were the big thing. And she said, I saw this handsome movie star, Tony Martin, performing, and I thought, I would give anything to dance with him. So if you could arrange that, I would appreciate it. And I said to her, look, I'm just a poor young lawyer, and I don't know movie stars, but if I can do it, I will. P.S. A few years later, when we took our children on our one of our annual trips to Hawaii, there at the hotel we were living at the beach, was Tony Martin, who came up behind Myrna. She was trying to tune in her radio, and this man came up behind her to help, said, let me help you. And Myrna didn't know that that was Tony Martin, but I did. And I saw his beautiful, famous dancer wife, Sid Charisse, right nearby. We befriended them, and for years kept contact with them, and they took us to their dressmakers and tailors to have clothes and bathing suits made. And then a few years later, we befriended a famous movie star. He'll be gone by the time you see this, but Kirk Douglas. Look him up. And Myrna shared a souffle with him when we went out to dinner with them.
Wow.
So I do remember that when we went out with Tony Martin and his wife, they had invited us to dinner one night, and we went. And I did not prearrange this, but as we were in the lounge having drinks before dinner, Tony Martin looked at Myrna and said, would you dance with me? And I just remember looking up at the ceiling and thinking, oh dear God, you have answered my prayers. Sid Charisse asked me to dance with her. I'm kind of a clumsy dancer, but we did. And so we used to have happy things like that happening to us. We were just loved people and loved to have good times.
And we did.
All right.